Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. Today I'm speaking with the one and only Drew Ford. He reads a lot and he lets you know the benefits of said reading. He also is very big on self improvement, how aligning the mind with the body is beneficial for anyone. You will certainly love his stuff. Make sure you go and check him out. Make sure you go and subscribe to this channel because you're already here and it's free. And if you're feeling kind, there are ways to send a hardworking man some money in the description. I love you all.
All day. Wake up, productivity dopamine, productivity all day. Our brains will.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shut Up and Let Me Read to You.
There is a mic check. Hello.
Hello.
All right, just
How come you're up so early? See, if you were headed where I'm headed, you'd be up early too. But if you were gonna meet who I'm gonna meet, you'd be up early. How come you're
Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I am your host, Glassfield Crossfield, and we are changing the world one podcast at a time. And we are here with the legendary Reading Savant. Let's go with that. I like that title.
okay. I like.
Drew Ford. Please
Yes, sir.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Drew Ford. I live in Burbank, California. GKC found me on TikTok the past 2 months. I've just started posting content mainly about reading, about personal development stuff. It's like my passion, but we've grown over 100K in the past 2 months. So I'm excited to jump on these podcasts and get active.
That's dope, man. So, where does your love of reading come from?
Honestly, after I used to hate reading, like in school. Yeah, like in school, all the book To Kill a Mockingbird, didn't care about it. Like all those books, had no interest in it. English was my least favorite subject, honestly. Where it came from though was right after I graduated high school. I'm the kid that didn't go to college, never signed up for a class. I just was always that entrepreneur mind. Luckily to my dad, like pretty much everyone in my family has college degrees and all this, but my dad has that entrepreneur type too, even though he has a degree and stuff, but he's like, you don't really need college. Like you can work with me, you can learn stuff. But anyways, I started to pick up books right after that, just from hearing big entrepreneurs in the space. People I look up to always talk about reading. So I started to read, and I read 3 books that right after high school. It was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and Think and Grow Rich. Those were the 3 I read after high school. And I literally got addicted to reading after those because I felt like I had learned more in those 3 books than the entire 12 years I just spent in the educational system. So I just have had a love for that like ever since then, honestly.
Do you have any aspirations to obtain your college degree?
No, I think it's a waste of money for me personally. Just the things I want to do. I want to be an entrepreneur. And I've learned that it's mostly just about doing and starting and acting. I already learned. I have the like a lot of people struggle with it. I struggle with it too. It's like when you're learning, sometimes you're learning to procrastinate. And it's like I even have to stop myself from reading sometimes. It's because it's like, okay, I know a bunch of stuff. I have to start doing. Like I have to start putting it into action and like making moves rather than just like keep on consuming. And I think that's all college would be for me, just more consumption of material where I don't need to have a degree in where the field I want to go. You know what I mean?
Got you. So I think when you start to climb the ranks in status, you're gonna be in circles where they all have degrees, and in turn they might look down on you because you only have a high school diploma. I'm not 100% sure. I've not really been in the circles as of yet that I really want to be in, but I'm assuming where you want to go, around the billionaires, millionaires, a lot of them do have degrees. So does that concern you at all that they might treat you like the odd man out down the line?
Do you have a degree, by the way?
Yeah, I do have a degree in journalism, hence why I'm such a
Oh,
great question asker.
nice. I like it. Yeah, a few of my good friends would also study journalism. She works remote, but she works for the Boston. It's a newspaper company in whatever. She writes stories for them. But anyways, no, I'm actually not worried about that at all. I think when you get higher ranks, like people you connect with are people that have done what you've done. So like
Okay.
me entering the space of like somewhat like TikTok fame, right? Social media fame. It's easy for me to connect with other people with followings and that have done the things I've done because we understand each other, right? So it's like obviously if you're DMing like these celebrities, like no one's gonna give you time because it's just, and it's not because it's like a disrespect thing, it's just like a time thing. It's like, why does this person deserve my time? Like if you were hitting up LeBron James, like he's not going to respond to everyone, right? But if it was another player in the NBA that like hits him up, he knows exactly what he's done to also get to the NBA, so they have a certain level of understanding where he doesn't really care about his story or how he got there. He just knows that like, okay, this guy is in the league, like he's put in the work. So like, yeah, of course I'd respond to his message or talk to him. So like if I'm starting a business and like working my way up, I feel like people don't care how you got there. If I have a successful business, if I'm making a certain amount of money or whatever the like requirement is to be in that circle, they just know it's more about, to me a lot of people can get a college degree. That's not like something that's like insanely difficult. So it's like if I have this business that it doesn't matter if I have a degree or not, if I have $1 million business or something, they're like, okay, this kid knows what he's doing or whatever that may be.
So the people who are going to be in a similar space as you, they'll look at your accomplishments before they look at your degree.
Yeah, 100%.
And when getting back to the LeBron comment, not just people in the NBA, I think LeBron probably respond to other highly successful people in the acting industry,
Exactly.
NFL, whoever. So
Exactly.
definitely, I also will prioritize accomplishments over a degree. Maybe I'm thinking about a small group of people who might be judgmental or might be on a subconscious level. So, who inspired you to read this much?
I think there's other entrepreneurs that like other people that live the life that I want to live and aspire to have, that have the freedom that I aspire to have these big businesses, whatever. It's just a consistent requirement, not requirement. Like for instance, my dad, he's had his ups and downs, but he's been very successful at points, and he doesn't read at all. Like he just does. He's a beast, like on the phone, like sales, like stuff like that. He doesn't read at all. I'm not that naturally like gifted. It's not even natural, but you know what I mean. But I just knew the formula for success. It's not like rocket science, and I want to stack every single possible thing I could do to guarantee my success. So if I keep hearing reading books and learning from the people who have already done it, right? One of my favorite quotes from Richard Dawkins, he wrote the book like The Gene, I think. It's like, and I've heard Ty Lopez say this a lot, but it's like organisms who learn through simulation always beat organisms who learn through trial and error. So when I hear that, it's like the perfect reason to read books. It's like all these people have lived these lives, studied their entire career, whatever it is, psychology, human relationships, social spirituality, whatever, and they put these hundreds of hours into these 200, 300 page books. And it's like, why would I not ingest that? Why wouldn't I learn from other people's mistakes instead of, like learning everything myself? That's my thought process.
Gary V also doesn't read. Uh, what
That's interesting.
what do you think are some of the bigger reasons why people don't want to read?
I mean, one of the biggest, especially in our like generation, is just, especially with technology and social media, it's our brains are so hardwired now for instant gratification. right? And it's just like it's something that we train ourselves every single day with scrolling. It's unlimited scrolling. That's what every Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, it's all unlimited scrolling. It'll never run out. So feeding yourself books is a lot harder. It's just more brain power, right? Than just turning off your brain and you can just scroll. So obviously right away it's just harder. And I think like I don't know if this is true, but I feel like I heard someone smart talk about it. But I think it was actually in Your Wish, Your Command, which I don't know if you've ever heard. It's these tapes from Kevin Trudeau, but it's all like the like agenda thing where like people don't talk about books that much. Like you don't hear a lot of people like, all kids like should read to be successful. And I think it's one of the biggest things you can do. And I don't know if it's part of like the government agenda or whatever that may be for control and all that stuff, but I genuinely think like it's not talked about on like it could not be talked about on purpose. But yeah, it comes down to just like the ease of it. It's like harder to do, but once you like get the rhythm of it and you know what's available in those books, it becomes so easy for me. Like, yeah.
I, for one, as a child, I used to love reading. I used to love reading. Absolutely. You could not catch me without a book in my hand. But then once the pictures went away and
Yeah.
and then the books became more difficult, it didn't keep my attention as much. And then I transitioned from loving to read any and all things to reading things that only interest me. And it has to be like, or it had to be what I define as like a really good book for me to really be invested enough just to read it. So they weren't many books that fit into that category. So what I ended up doing, I just ended up reading the books I just had to read to pass English. So
Yeah, and that's one thing a lot of people ask me too. It's like, how do I motivate myself to read? Like, how do I read more? Some kid just asked me today. And that's like the perfect thing. It's like, what interests you? I personally love psychology,
mm,
finance,
mm,
entrepreneurship, business, all that stuff. So like all those books, spirituality, I've really gotten into the past few months. Um, so I'm just like addicted to those books. But if I pick up a random book about freaking economics or something, like it doesn't really interest me as much. So that's what I tell people to like. I recommend all these books to people and I hype them up and I'm like, yo, you gotta read this book. It's freaking crazy. And then sometimes people will be like, I don't know. I'm like halfway through it and I'm like not even excited to finish it. Like, what do I do? I'm like, dude, drop it. Like, if it doesn't interest you, don't worry about it. Like, you can come back to it, but like, there's so many books. You will definitely find some that spark like some like crazy interest. So I agree with you 100%. You got to read what you like because it's too cost time. Like, it costs too much time anyway. Like, you don't have time to waste.
maybe they're interested in the topic, might not necessarily the delivery. Because like the books
Yeah,
that
that's
that
true.
you mentioned, prior, Atomic Habits and Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People, there might just be other versions of that book that resonate with other people better. So maybe that's one thing. And also, if because I know some people, they get bored, like, or some people just don't have the attention span to sit down. So I recommend, audiobooks. Maybe try audiobooks. So
That's huge. And like you can, dude, I've always liked books more, but recently my mom hooked me up with her Audible account. So I've been like getting into that and it's honestly so good because all the times you can't sit down and read, there's so much time in between. Like I always want to like prioritize my efficiency. Like I always feel like I'm wasting time and want to be able to like be the most efficient I can. So whenever I'm cooking or like taking a shower or like doing chores around the house, now I use that time to listen to audiobooks and it's the perfect. And you can listen to them on like 1.5 speed, 2 speed, 2x
hmm,
and like kill
that's
books
kind
and
of
it honestly I love it.
It sounds awfully efficient. You could probably, because I have Kindle, but obviously in comparison to audio, that's gonna take way longer. Like I could probably one audiobook I could probably knock out in a few days in comparison to a Kindle. I'll probably, because I'm reading for like 15 to 25 pages a day. That's probably gonna take
Mhm.
a week and a half in comparison to I could probably read 3 or 4 audiobooks in that time frame.
No, literally, yeah. And if that's your thing, like, yeah, if you can, and because what's harder for me though, listening to an audiobook is easy if I am doing something else. Like if I am driving or doing a chore, like it's easy for me to consume it. If I just try and sit down on my bed and
Mm.
listen to an audiobook, it's hard for me because like my brain kind of goes off places and I can't focus as much.
Yeah.
Like it kind of is better to me to do a mundane like activity while I listen rather than just trying to consume it. So that's why I like the combination for sure.
What are some of the things that you do to make sure that you implement your newfound knowledge into action? Because knowledge is nothing without action.
100%. And that's something I struggled with a lot at the beginning when I was first like starting to consume a lot of this stuff. I had nowhere to like put it. I had no business. I had no like real job I could implement it. And that's why I was so excited when I first started sales because one of my first loves was like psychology. And if I did go to college, that's probably besides like business or something, that's probably something I'd study because I just love psychology and just human behaviors and all that stuff. Um, but that was really easy for me. Once I got a sales job, it was so easy for me to read all those books and implement everything. Now that which I've been doing the past 3 years, and I actually just quit a few months ago to pursue starting my own business, to pursue TikTok, all this stuff. Um, so now all this stuff I read, honestly, maybe this is why I've been reading it a lot because I haven't had anything to apply it to, but I've been getting a lot into spiritual books, which applying spiritual books is easy because it's just about your daily life and it's literally about happiness and not taking things personally and just like understanding other people and like just how to live your best life so you can use it in every situation. Whereas like obviously sales books and stuff or communication books you would have to apply in specific situations. So I've been loving spiritual books. It's honestly just given me such like peace and like just ways to think about certain situations where because stuff comes up every day like BS stuff that like triggers you or like all this certain stuff. So it's given me a lot of insight on like how to just be calm. And then obviously Atomic Habits, something right now, building social media. I want to start building another TikTok account for this fitness product, but that's why I love Atomic Habits and I love like morning routines because it's something I can like implement every day where like if I just spend the first 2-3 hours on my morning routine where I like read, visualize, go to the gym, eat healthy, whatever, like I can win every single day before like my day even starts. So that's why I love like my mornings and stuff.
Have you ever heard of Wayne Dyer?
Yes, I love Wayne Dyer.
Yeah, so he has a book, 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace. I think you would love that book.
Oh, nice. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah,
I've only his erroneous zones.
it's really dope. The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F1, that's a good one too.
That
But
one I read a long time ago. I would want to reread. Books are cool too, because like when you reread a book, like for instance, Subtle Art of Not Giving a F, that book I probably read 5 years ago, and it's like I'm such a different person
right,
now, where like you get so much. It's like a whole new book almost. But it's always good constantly reminding yourself of stuff like that. That's something I practice every day. Like people don't understand how important that is. Like everyone wants to not care what other people think, but it's one of the hardest things to do, right? So it's like that's something I try and practice every single day, even if it's something small, like posting something on social media, posting an Instagram story where like if you notice something after you post it and you're like, oh crap, like my hair was kind of like I would delete that or something. I'll consciously practice like, okay, leave it up, have a little embarrassment or whatever, just to practice, build that not give a fuck muscle. That's what like I call it. I think that's what he calls it in the book. I don't know if that's where I got it. I might have got that from that book. Have you read it?
no, I've read that. I've read that. I would have to go back and see. I'm not
I think
sure if he
he calls
specifically
it.
called it a
That's
muscle,
always
but
stuck with me.
it's
That's
possible.
always yeah.
It's
Do you have a
definitely.
favorite book?
Nah, I'll go through my Kindle real quick. I don't really have a favorite book because like a lot of the books that I read, they all offer something different that I find valuable. One of the books I read, hold on, let me get the title. Non-negotiable, 10 years incarcerated, creating the unbreakable mindset. That's a
By
really
who?
freaking good one.
Who's that by?
That's by, where's his name? Wes Watson.
Oh, dude, I just started following Wes.
Yeah,
He's a book?
yeah. And
No sh
it's really freaking good, man.
That's dope.
Non-negotiable. So I read that one fairly recently. That was a very good one. How to Build Self-Discipline is a good one. Who's this by? Martin Meadow, it looks like.
I haven't heard of that one either. That's dope. And real quick, wait, so and what do you go by the way?
My name.
Yeah.
Everybody calls me Glass because they never heard a name like Glassford before, so people just say Glass.
Glass. Okay. And how long have you had this podcast, by the way?
I started it late 2020, but it was like only audio then. I got into YouTube a bit more. I can't really pinpoint a day, but sometime in 2021, I believe, yeah.
Okay, dope.
I think
No,
mid
podcasts are cool.
2021.
This is like my second one I've been on, and then like you always see you like podcasts have become so popular, and I always see them, but I really like the vibe of them because I was like nervous before my first like podcast. I was nervous, but it's dope because it's really just like a conversation, and it's like not like this live thing in front of a bunch of people. It's like you really just chat, and it's like cool. And obviously, we've never talked, so that's why I'm kind of asking you stuff too. I was a little curious, but yeah, we can proceed.
The Unplugged Alpha is a good one. I'm not sure if you're into relationship books at all. The
Hell
Unplugged
yeah.
is a good one. Uh,
Dude, one of my favorite relationship books is Models. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
It's by the same author of Subtle Art of Not Giving a F.
Models Attract Women Through Honesty.
Yeah, that
Interesting
book is
title, because most men, including myself, go the other route.
I know, right? No, that book is, and it's not like a game book, pick blind, it's like real, like, I don't know. It changed my whole mind. I've read it twice. It changed my whole mindset about
Interesting. I might have to do
women.
that one next.
And
Is
then the
that,
best one is
yes.
probably The Way of the Superior Man.
I read that, and that book is fire.
That book is dope.
That
That
book
book is
is
so
fire. And it makes you take radical accountability as a man. Like, it's just, you don't have the woman you want because you're not who you're supposed to be. And I like that.
100%. Yeah, it's like we blame certain things on women or whatever, but you realize that it's because you weren't in your like
Master.
divine masculine, as he calls it. And it's like, dude, those two energies, it's something I've never learned about. And it just made so much sense. I was like, holy crap.
I have to go back and read that one too.
Yeah, that one's dope.
I'm sorry, I got so many books here. I really love talking about this stuff. Marry Him, The Case for Settling for Mr. Goodenough by, what's her name?
I've never heard of that one.
Lori Gottlieb. Lori
The title was
Gottlieb.
Marry Him?
Yeah, Marry Him, The Case for Settling for Mr. Goodenough. And it talks about basically how so many women like to prolong the marrying process, and then they end up waiting too long, and then they don't end up getting the choice that they want, or end up getting no choice at all. And it's a woman who
Interesting.
wrote this book. So
Was four men, or it sounds like it's four women, no?
yeah, it's
Or
for
I guess
women,
either.
but that's how you stay ahead of the game. You feel me?
That's true. I've always wanted to, because there's so many books I've read about the male, the masculine, and I'm like, I wonder if women read this book. So it got me thinking, like, maybe I should read one of their books and like get in their minds.
Definitely.
But
This is a book called Hoe Tactics. So I read.
Kotak,
Yes. So basically, it's like a how-to guide for women to basically get men to come out of pocket, with the women giving out the least amount of sexual attention that she can.
you mean
Hotak,
out of pocket money?
yeah, like she mentioned in the book how
Funny.
how she has like she's trained women to get men to pay for flights, housing situations with no sex involved.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hotep,
never me. No,
how
I'm kidding.
to how to no for real. How to mind F a man into spending, spoiling, and sponsoring by
Dang, that
G.L. Lambert.
it would be interesting to read the other side of that, just so you're not getting like manipulated or
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
No, dude, something you made me think of with the marry him one was one of my favorite videos I've seen from Steve Harvey, which it was on his I think it's called the Steve Harvey Show, where he just talks about
Yeah.
different, not Family Feud, obviously, but it was one of my favorite perspectives where this woman was asking him like, I just like broke up with my guy because like he wouldn't commit. Like we were supposed to get married. We've been engaged for like 9 months, blah, blah, blah. And he like backed out and he has these cold feet. And he just went into this explanation. I show it to um a lot of my guy friends just so they have an understanding of like the women perspective and the male perspective. But he gave this really good analogy as far as women, when they get married, they have a biological clock where they've planned out their whole life. They've like pictured their wedding where like, I want to be married at least by 30. I want to have 2 kids by this date. And before after I turn 21, like all this stuff relating to time. And what got her was she didn't understand that we as men, instead of a biological clock, we have a financial clock. So like the reason, after like he questioned her and kind of got down to things, the reason he found out that the guy backed out on the wedding was that like he didn't have the dream job he wanted. He didn't have the finances set up that he wanted. And like us as men, I feel like if we don't have that stuff set up, it's really hard for us to see like, how are we going to take care of our girl? Like, how are we going to take care of our kids? Like, how are we going to do this? So I totally like, that was such a big like um moment for me as far as like understanding how women think and understanding how we think. And Steve Harvey was just like, does it hurt if you're just like engaged with them like one more year or like 2 more years, whatever? And she's like, no, I guess not. But that just reminded me of that, and that was like always a powerful mindset I learned about.
Yeah, shout out to the late great Kevin Samuels, and he talked about like women
The
they have
ghost.
they do have that biological clock. Men, we have more time. Like Janae Aiko's father, who's 77, is just now having a child.
What?
Yes, yes.
Oh my god.
Our window to have kids is a lot larger than it is for women, and also for us, the kind of things that we want in life take time. So that's why it might be in our best interest to really hold off until really hold off on marriage until we are where we want to be. And if he's engaged for you for 9 months, bro, like it doesn't take 9 months to really get there, bro. Like
Yeah, you could wait a little longer. And our prime isn't even until we're really like 30 to 35. That's like our real like prime. Where with women, it's like when you start to get past 25, 26, 27, it's like, you know.
it's so unfortunate that, oh my goodness, and like especially like with black women, I love black women before y'all cancel me, but with black women, they really like. I've heard plenty of black women say, "Yeah, I'm gonna wait till I'm 32 to have kids, 33 to get married," and that's not in their best interest because they're not gonna have the same kind of leverage in the dating pool at that age.
Sure.
So I
You
mean,
might not get what you want. Yeah, no, that
yeah,
100%.
you're not, you're absolutely not. So I actually have the Steve Harvey book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. I actually read that book as well. That's a solid book. The Brittany Renner, that book, Judge This Cover, that book, it was so well written. I was so astonished how well written that book was.
I heard when she released that. I haven't read it, but is
It,
that the one where the cover, like where she's like kind of
yeah,
naked or something?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that's
Oh, she pulled a crazy play.
yeah, man, it was crazy.
Did she talk about that in the book?
About her excursions, yeah, she talked about it. She talked about them a little bit, but she basically told her origin story of how she got to where she is today. And I think that's a story worth reading because if you end up having a daughter, you don't want to end up like Brittany Renner. So No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. He basically goes in depth of like how the nice guy originates
I just heard about that one yesterday on a TikTok, I think. I looked
That
it
one
up.
is good. What Everybody is Saying by Joe Navarro. I gotta give you
I've
the
always wanted
title
to
for
read
that.
that one.
Oh, so you know that book?
Yeah, the blue cover.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
Have you
very
read that? The worth
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Dude, I love body language stuff and like psych like yeah, all that shit. That's dope.
It's a Black Mamba RP Kobe. Read that one.
Ooh, I
Leadership
gotta read that.
Success Habits is another good one. Verbal Judo. That's one I really think you would thoroughly enjoy. Verbal Judo, the gentle art of persuasion. Learn what never to say. Engage people through empathy. Listen better and always be heard. Stop verbal attacks in their tracks. So I get
How do you spell judo?
Judo
Oh,
by George
judo.
J. Thompson and Jerry B. Jenkins.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
just
Oh,
keep
that's
yeah.
on my want to read. I use Goodreads to keep track of all the books I want to read and all the books I've read and stuff. And I marked it on October 26, 2018. This
Oh,
book. That's
wow.
dope.
Wow.
Heck yeah. I'll
Uh,
definitely look into
How Not to Die is also a great one.
it. That's a funny title.
Yeah, because you look seem to be in the interested in the health space. Discover the food
Yeah,
scientifically proven to prevent and reverse disease. So I think that's one that you would
I've
enjoy.
heard of that book.
A long read, a long freaking read, but it might be an audiobook for you. So
And sometimes those titles, like maybe the health space, those are I like to pick and choose stuff like exactly interests. Like obviously, like I am interested in health. I'm not one of those that's like super nut about it. So those are the type of things where I'll like look up summaries of it and get the gist of all the foods not to eat or whatever. But yeah.
long freaking read. What made you get on TikTok?
Dude, I wanted to freaking awaken people's consciousness, bro. I don't know. I've ever since I started reading, I've fallen in love with personal development and just being your best self, right? So like there's so much things I've learned where it's just an asset. Like I heard Gary Vee talk about it a million times. It's like I hope the planes aren't too loud. I live next to an airport. It's kind of
As
annoying.
do
But
I.
anyway,
JFK, small world.
oh nice. um but like so many people like TikTok we know is literally the most powerful app that's come into existence and just as far as the algorithm and the growth and it's something I heard Gary Vee say so much just like don't miss out and I know as an aspiring entrepreneur building your personal brand is just something that can never hurt always helps so I was like I just wanted to send it.
Hmm, got you. That's a worthy goal there. Well,
Because and also and one more thing, because I found out in our world today, attention is the most valuable currency.
hmm,
So if you can build your personal brand and get some attention, you can monetize it into pretty much whatever you want, which I've actually had struggle figuring out. I don't, and I've found that in this space, in the personal development niche, whatever I post about, it's a common thing people run into as far as like how to monetize. I don't want to just do like, oh yeah, one-on-one coaching calls for $100. Like I don't like there's so many different I don't talk about something specific, so it'd be hard for me to like justify charging someone something where I don't know if I could help them. So I gotta kind of figure out how I'm gonna monetize the smartest way, whatever makes the most sense.
interesting. Maybe having a conference or like a public.
Uh like a Zoom call, you mean type thing?
I was talking about like you speaking to an audience, like live.
Oh, like being a speaker. Yeah, no, I've thought about stuff like that. I don't um I'm open to it for sure. That would have to be something. I don't know how I would plan that or what content I would like say. Like I have a bunch of stuff I know about the world and our human consciousness and business and whatever, but yeah, that would be something in the future, I guess. I guess it could lead to maybe someone else's event or like being a guest speaker, stuff like that. That'd be cool. Be down.
What would you say is the goal of all your content?
That's a good question. Honestly, what I've learned so much is that the goals usually, like, keeping your goals wide sometimes is sometimes better than specific goals, which sounded, when I learned, like, it sounded the opposite of everything I've learned. Like, all the Think and Grow Rich, all the stuff, it's like every goal have a specific date you want to hit it by, specific number, specific everything. And then when I listen to Your Wish is Your Command, for whoever's listening, like, it's free on Spotify and YouTube. It's one of the best 12 tape audio programs I've ever listened to in my life. And he's just kind of talking about, like, sometimes the goals you want aren't what's best for you. And, like, we can't really see the future. We can't see, like, God's plan in a way. So keeping it open is smart. And another thing I've learned is just that the process is so much more important than the destination. So when I think of my content, it's like, okay, what is my goal? Like, my goal is kind of just to help other people and give people these cool ideas that I've learned from books and, like, hopefully impact their life. So there's no real, like, end goal of, like, oh, I want to make this amount of money or have this amount of followers. Like, we're just going to freaking stick with the process, post every day, keep making good content, keep impacting people's life, keep putting people on books, keep freaking awakening people, and just kind of see where it takes us, honestly.
Got you. Yeah, I've heard both sides of that as well. Whereas, like, some people who set more specific goals, when you don't reach it within that time frame, you know, there's a part of you that is a bit unsettled with that. And some people purposely make goals more unrealistic so that they don't kind of limit themselves. And then
Yeah,
when you don't reach it, it's like it's somewhat of a deflating feeling. So I've heard both, but I've heard the advantages of making it very specific and making every goal like really needling it down to like something very minute, and the advantages of that are kind of breaking down each step to it. So I've heard the advantages of that, but I think I might be with you when it comes to keeping the goal open ended. Not because when you do that way, you probably won't feel as defeated if it doesn't come, and it keeps your mind open to other opportunities and potentially changing your goals. So
100%. And I'll tell you the exact reason why that not having a specific goal or specific date at least is better. And it's because when you have a specific time set to a goal, let's say it's like, and it's okay, there's certain things that's like specific goals help more, but this is what really blew my mind when I learned is that I heard you mention manifesting at the beginning. It sounds like you're a dude that likes manifest. I love manifesting. I love praying. I love getting everything into my
I have
life, whatever.
mixed feelings on manifestation, but we'll talk about that next time.
Okay. Yeah. I want to ask you about it. But the number one rule to, not rule, but if you want something to come true, a manifestation, a prayer, if you want it to happen, the number one thing associated with that is belief that it can happen. Absolute faith, right? 100% faith. That's what I've found, and that's what I've learned. And when you put a specific date on your goals or a specific thing, automatically the closer you get to that time limit, let's say it's December 31st, the end of the year, you want to make a certain amount of money. Let's say it's November and you're close to the end of the time and you're not like on pace, right? Automatically in our brain, the opposite of belief is doubt, right? So if we're close to, if say we want to make $100,000 by December 31st, and we're in November and we've only made $50,000, automatically your belief level, which is the only rule that creates that manifestation, like makes it come true, is automatically dropping by every single day, right? So you're just getting more and more doubt and less belief to that goal happening, and you feel worse about it. And it's all about the energy and the feelings, the frequency you're vibrating at and all that stuff, for it to come true. So that's what really clicked for me when I was like, okay, not having specific dates or specific times, you can have like a general idea, but not being obsessed with it is, and just keeping that 100% faith and belief that it's going to happen when the time is right, was really huge for me when I like started creating my goals and creating whatever dreams I wanted to accomplish.
The issue that I take with a lot of the people who are such a advocate for manifestation is because I think a lot of them don't put enough emphasis on the work that you should be doing while manifesting. So if I manifest a six pack and I'm eating donuts all day, chances are I'm not going to be getting a six pack anytime soon. So that's one of the bigger issues. I would want more of an emphasis on the work. So what are some of the best ways for you to manifest, and talk about the importance of working while you're manifesting? Manifesting.
Dude, I 100% agree. Like that's the key for sure. And that's the part that like that's why The Secret got so much hate, because it like addressed none of that. And the thing about manifesting that people don't understand is like I don't know if you've heard this line, it's been said many times, but it's like you become what you think about. So it's like if it's between manifesting and not manifesting, all manifesting is thinking about it constantly. So if you want a six pack, and every single morning, what like you just have to say like, okay, what's going to be beneficial, like manifesting it or not. And it's like every single morning, if I'm manifesting it, like I'm gonna have a six pack, I'm a healthy person, I don't like I watch what I eat, all this, like saying that stuff over and over is going to reinforce your actions. So like, yeah, obviously if people are just think that thinking about it is literally going to bring it to them, like you're delusional, nothing happens like that. But the key is that thinking about it constantly is so much more likely for it to happen than just not believing in manifestation, not believing in prayer. What they're the same thing to me, prayer, manifestation, whatever. That's like the key. Like anything you do think about is more likely to happen. So that's like the part people don't get a lot of the time.
So what are some of the ways that you manifest?
Every morning. So the way I manifest is I don't even ask for stuff anymore. I don't even say like, do you believe in God, by the way?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, cool. So like when I'm praying, like I don't even ask God for stuff anymore. I don't, God, can you give me a six pack? Blah blah blah. I found that you have to become whatever you want. You have to like raise up into that frequency, right? So it's like I just think my whole thing is I use gratitude as manifestation. That's what I do all day. Every single morning, I have a journal. I write the date. I say, thank you, dear Heavenly Father. Thank you for this day. And I say, like, all the future things I want, I put them in the present and I start thanking God for it. So God, thank you for one of the things I have right now is I am so happy and grateful to now be earning $10,000 a month and impacting 1 million plus people through art every day, which TikTok, whatever. Because my favorite thing is like art, right? Creating. So that's the way I manifest. It's like you become what you want in the present. It's not about like, oh, please give it to me, because then you're automatically in the state of like not having it. So that's what I've learned, like the best way to manifest is.
So to
Oh,
be
and specifically to answer your question, yeah. So I write stuff down every day, and then I have this little paper that I keep with me on the back of my phone case. So I'm constantly looking at it and constantly saying it throughout the day. And something actually I just learned yesterday. Have you ever heard of Neville Goddard? He's an older
no.
author. He wrote The Feeling is the Secret and The Power of Awareness. He's like the spiritual books.
Ooh,
But there was this chapter, dude, it's super short. Feeling is the Secret. There's this chapter on sleep that freaking was messing with my head. I started sending it to all my friends, but it was talking about how basically the whole goal, if you want to achieve anything, our subconscious runs our life pretty much. Like 95% of our day is in our subconscious, right? So our goal is to consciously put stuff into our subconscious, right? And so that's what manifestation and prayer is. Like you're in your conscious, right? You're praying, you're like, it brings you to the present moment and you're putting it into your subconscious. And what he explained about sleep is obviously our subconscious never stops. It never goes to sleep, right? It's what controls our heart beating. It's what controls us staying alive while we sleep. So during the 8 hours we sleep, our subconscious is alive and well and still processing pretty much everything. So what he says about sleep that I've started to take seriously is because it made total sense and I believe him, is right before you go to sleep, you want to put your conscious, you want to feed your subconscious as much as the good stuff as possible, because whatever you feed your subconscious last before you go to sleep is what it's gonna like process and keep thinking about, basically, but while you're unconscious. So before you go to sleep, he said, basically think of it doesn't matter what happened during your day, basically do visualization and think of all the future things you want and how grateful you are that they're coming before you go to sleep, because the next like 8 hours your subconscious is going to be processing that, which is it's hard to measure, obviously. I'm sure you've probably heard of stuff like the YouTube videos that have like the 8 hours where it's like program your subconscious while you sleep and
Affirmations, yeah.
yeah. And like I've tried those a couple probably like 2-3 times, but it's like something I didn't take serious because it's like it's so hard to know if it's working or you're just like wasting time. But I genuinely, after reading that, I'm like, yo, that makes so much sense. Like your subconscious doesn't turn off. So I don't do the 8 hour like YouTube video in the background, but I just make sure I feed myself that right before I go to sleep.
That's interesting. I think I might adopt that practice. I listen to a lot
Dude,
of motivational, like those motivational YouTube 10, 12-minute videos. I love Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn by far is my freaking favorite. So I might just start
bro, the way that guy talks, bro, I can listen to him all day.
literally. Oh my goodness, it's freaking nuts. So I might just throw him on before I sleep, but while he's on, I'll be thinking of my future life as well.
100%. I think it's important, and I think if people take it serious, like they'll see a change in it. And I'm new to it too. I'm not saying like, oh, it's worked for me. That's how I've manifested my dream life. But it's like I trust these people that are like they have no benefit in lying to us, saying that like they're way smarter than all of us. So I'm just gonna go ahead and trust them because they freaking know what they're talking about.
So I wrote down here, so one of the ways that you manifest is being thankful for the present and the future. No, being thankful for the future and the present.
Exactly.
Got you. So, okay. So I think I'm gonna start doing that. Write down some things that you want in the future and thank God that you have those things currently.
And dude, I was actually just gonna make a video on this, and yesterday I realized while I was recording it that there was like a lawn guy in the back and the audio was messed up. But I realized I forgot where I realized it, but the reason I do that and the reason it makes so much sense to me is like as far as manifesting the future in the present and pretty much pretending like it's already happened and being grateful that it's already happened, is that, and this is kind of like profound, right? So like as humans we live in a 3-dimensional world, right? According to Einstein and all those smart people, time is the 4th dimension. So we can't perceive, that's why we can only perceive our present moment. That's the only thing that exists for us because we're in the 3 dimensions and time is the 4th, right? So if we just pretend for a second, it's hard to fathom, but if we just pretend that we could go transcend to the 4th dimension and perceive time the way it like in that dimension, basically we would be able to see the past, present, and future all happening at once. Does that make sense? It's hard to like, yeah, it's kind of hard to fathom, but because those dimensions, like through physics and mathematics, like this isn't just the manifesting stuff, through physics and mathematics, like people know that there's like a 5th dimension and 6th and 7th, 8th, 9th, like 9th dimension, I don't even know, like basically you're God or something, I don't know. But if we just pretend we're in the 4th dimension and we could like literally see our timeline, it's like, dang, all this stuff is happening at once. Even though we can't see it, we can't fathom it. We're humans. We only live in 3 dimensions. But basically, all this stuff is happening at once. So the only thing in between your absolute dream life and the present moment is time. So if we can pretend to go into that dimension and see that all at once, it's like it's already happened. It's literally already happened. So that's why it made sense for me to just be thankful that it's already happened and just pretending like it's happening in this present moment, because like if we could perceive that dimension, it has already happened. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of like what makes sense in my head.
I got you. I got you.
Even though that's pretty far out there, but it's just because we are 3-dimensional beings and we can't perceive it.
So you talked about earlier about manifestation is basically belief, and you need radical belief that what you are saying to yourself is gonna happen. So how does a person get to that point?
Yeah, like the people, it's funny whenever someone doesn't believe in manifestation and tells me that, I always just think of, I think it's I can't remember who said it, but it's the person who thinks he can and the person who thinks he can't are both usually right. Exactly. So it's like, yeah, if you don't believe in manifestation, of course it's not going to work for you. Like that's the only rule there is to it. And what I've learned, it's all about feeling good now. So when you're trying to manifest, if you make your goals too big where you don't believe it, it's not going to work because you don't feel good about it. But like as long as you can just have faith, even if you don't believe in God, like you don't have to believe in God, but just have faith in yourself that it can happen. And sometimes that comes down to like self-worth and stuff like that. Sometimes people just aren't confident because they haven't taken like it's just been this constant like battle, right? So I feel like the start, like to do practically answer your question, I feel like the start of that is setting very small goals and just winning small goals. And if you just get on a little winning streak, you can raise your self-belief, which is, now that we know, like the most important thing when wanting to achieve those bigger goals. So you have to like just start small and kind of stack dubs, so you can get to that belief.
Have you been on your journey now? Have the women poured in expeditiously since you've been focused?
Dude, 100%. It's funny you asked me that. I'm actually glad you asked me that because, dude, when I first made like a good amount of money doing sales, I did door-to-door sales, sold pest control every summer, right? So we worked 4 or 5 months. My second year doing it, I made like 60 grand in 4 months. I was like stoked. Immediately, I spent half of it on a Maserati. And obviously not cash. I didn't just spend 30 cash. It was like a 5-year like payment, whatever, that I could afford the payments. But like the reason I'm mentioning that, first of all, not a smart financial decision. Like now I'm so like spiritually woke and like have so much self-worth that like I'm literally gonna go buy a Prius for like $5,000 and stack my bread, because now I'm really playing the game. Before I cared about what people thought and all this stuff. And the reason I'm saying that, according to women, is like when I had that car for like a year and a half. I think I maybe went on like one date in that car with one girl, right? Like it was super fun to drive, but I was just still, it didn't change my confidence with women. It didn't like, oh yeah, girls probably liked it, but it was still, it doesn't matter what they perceive if I don't perceive myself that way, right? So like still wasn't confident with girls. After I lost that, it's that car is still in Georgia where I used to live. My friend got in an accident with it, long story. But after I came back to my hometown, I didn't have a car. And I literally would take, like, I've taken more girls out in my mom's 2005 minivan than I did with my Maserati. And it's just because of my confidence in myself and me just not like literally not giving a fuck about like what anyone thinks. And we know that as men, it's like that's one of the most attractive things to a woman is like your just complete confidence and not caring what they think, even if it's not like what they want, right? So it's just really funny to me. Like, yeah, the minivan has been more successful than the Maserati, and it's all because it has to do with your own confidence and belief.
With all the red pill guys that I listen to and all the relationship books that I read, there's just one of the things they constantly say, man, is there's no getting around the work. There's just no getting around the work. Money, cars, they don't make you unlame. They don't make you more confident. And honestly, for a lot of men, you come off as lamer because you think the car is gonna make you cool, and then you're trying to flex the car, and it makes you look like lame because you know we're supposed to find those things out organically. You know what I mean? So instead of you just like, hey, look at my nice car, look at my nice car, that makes like if somebody walks up to you in the street like, hey, I have a Lambo, come look at my Lambo. It's like, bro, you're freaking weird. But when they pull up in the Lambo, it makes you turn your head.
100%.
So
It just This is what I've always heard. Like money just amplifies what you are,
yeah,
right? It doesn't change. So like if you're a dick, like it's just gonna make you a really rich dick.
Mhm.
And if you're a lame dude, it's gonna make you a freaking like it's gonna magnify your lameness, honestly. Like so yeah, so you have to like focus on yourself first, 100%.
And my last question: if you could have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, I like that question. Dinner with 5 people that are alive. I'm gonna have to automatically off the top of my head. I freaking the past the past 6 months, I freaking have fallen in love with Alex Hormozy, dude. He's like my new like favorite entrepreneur. Do you know Hormozy?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
He's a
Um,
G. I
yeah,
would throw him in there. I would throw Andrew Tate in there, Cobra.
Andrew Tate.
Just because he's entertaining as hell, I'd for sure have him. And
Yeah.
then um 3 other people. I'm gonna say I have to have one just like I'm trying to think of like the hottest woman in the world. I would have her at the dinner too. But I would probably put Elon in there.
Elon.
Um Elon, Hormozy, Tate, uh crap, dinner. Um this is a tough question to think about too, because I'm actually trying to see like if I could make this possible.
No Kobe?
You said who are alive?
I said dead or alive. I said
Oh,
five
dead or alive.
dead or alive.
Dude, dang. Oh shit. Dead or alive. Dang, you could bring back anyone. Holy, I'd bring back like freaking some like genius. Kobe's a awesome one. I don't know if I'd freaking like bring back like Nikola Tesla. I'd put him in there. I want to pick his brain. That's like a freaking guy I look up to. And then him and Elon Musk would have a good conversation. And then dang, dead or alive. Crap, who's like my favorite?
You could probably
I
put
don't
the entrepreneur guy in there still.
which
The
guy?
I forgot the name you said. That you said the entrepreneur you've been in love with of late.
Oh, Hormozy?
Yeah,
What about him?
I said you could probably still put him on your list.
Oh no, yeah, he'd still be on there. Those are still like my four.
Let's do it.
Um
Tate is your fourth, right?
me and crap, maybe dude, I've been blessed. I'm thinking of like a family member now, like a family member that has died. But on it, I've been really lucky to a lot of my family is alive. I've been lucky with that. I don't want to take this too much time on this question, but I'm like really trying to like have a good answer. But
No,
the
it
fifth,
is hard because my list is pretty it's hard. Kobe would be there, Jim
I
Rohn,
want to hear yours.
Kobe, Jim
Oh,
Rome,
Jim Ross, that'd be good.
Chance the Rapper, uh, Martin Luther King, and Hitler.
Dang, that would be some interesting combos.
Very
That'd
much
be some
so.
crazy, just MLK and Hitler just going at it. No, I'm kidding. But my last one that's good, the favorite, I'd probably get like one of my favorite athletes is Walter Payton. I'm like, would I bring him to the dinner though? I don't know. I'm gonna just go with Walter though.
Okay.
He's one of my favorites.
His personality might not
Yeah.
match the other guys.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting.
Right. Well,
No, but yeah, I'll give those five.
thank you so much for coming on. That is all the questions I have for you today. Make sure you go follow Mr. Drew Ford and you subscribe to this channel. And I have 5 different ways to send me money down below if you're feeling lighthearted. So God bless. And manifest with the work. Manifest with the work.